Okay, welcome back. This is part 2 of the video on the Spectrum Plus 48K. What we did in part 1 was we did a composite mod, recapped the board, and we replaced the keyboard membrane, which was damaged. We also run diagnostics on the board, which everything seemed to pass just fine. The only thing that was really left to do was to load some software, basically play a game. Now, I prefer to play with joystick, but unfortunately I didn't have a joystick interface. Well, I now do. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through putting all this together. Now, I'll give details at the end, but I'm going to be giving this one away. But like I say, details at the end of the video. Right, let's get on with the build. Right, so the first thing I want to do is get this so that it fits in here. Excuse me. You'll notice at the end there you've got the two rows of pins, and then you've got a gap, and then you've got the rest of them. So what we need to do first is remove some pins from here, the third lot along, and I just find it's just a little metal toothpick, just a case of reaching in and popping them out. First one. You can as well, if you go underneath, you can just press the pin, give it a little bit of a push, and that'll raise it up, give you a bit of a start, maybe makes it a little easier just to pick out. Still can't get out of it. A pair of pliers would do the job, of course. There we go. It should be high enough now. And that's it. Right, so that's that out. You need to then put in a little, it's like a little key for fitting on it. Make sure that you can connect it to the PCB the wrong way. You can't line the pins up wrong, potentially sending voltage down a data line and damaging the machine. This is basically, I've cut that out of one of these little pry tool picks. Slightly thicker ones. That centrepiece is pretty much the right thickness for this. So it's just a case of nibbling away until you have the right size. As you can see, this should slip in there nicely. You will probably have to add a dab of glue, which I'll do at the end, just to hold it in place, so that it doesn't pop out and you don't notice. Now, next part is just using the Dremel tool or similar, and start with this end and basically chop it off. Now, once that's done, if we line everything up on the board, just so we can see the last pin. So that's the last pin that's being used, so we need to cut it from about here. So I'll just mark that. Okay. and we can remove all these pins. That's that bit done. Yep, happy with how neat that is. Well, I should fit nicely in here now, and there we go, perfect fit. Yeah, happy with that. Right, so I can just set that aside just now, and I'm going to give this bench a quick clean, and then really the next stage is just going to be populating the PCB. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. PCBWay are a Chinese manufacturer. They do prototype PCBs, SMD stencils, CNC machining, 3D printing, injection moulding and metal fabrication. So if you need prototyping done or even mass production runs, I would consider visiting PCBWay.com for more information. Ordering from PCBWay is quite straightforward. Upload your designed file, and then you can go through and you can make little changes. Generally speaking, I always tended to leave everything at the defaults. The only thing I would maybe change is the solder mask colour, maybe the silk screen colour. But there are changes that you can make. It's then a case of save it to cart. They'll then look it over. They'll contact you if they have any questions or queries regarding your design. If they were to find something they thought was a problem, they would contact you to resolve that. At that point, they would give you a quotation, and if you're happy with that, you make your payment. They'll start the fabrication and ship it to you when done. And you can check on the progress during the manufacturing, at what stage they're at, by going into your account. Yeah, it's all pretty straightforward, nice and easy to use, and I always found even going with the global standard shipping was quite reliable. I believe it's 6 to 8 business days, and I found that to be the case. When I received the email from PCBWay asking if there was anything that they could do to partner up in a video, I knew I was going to be working on this Spectrum, and I knew I needed a Kempston interface. So the first thing I did was I went to their community page, where it's absolutely filled with projects, 3D printing, Arduino, audio, automotive, blinking lights, breakout board projects, calculators. There's a big list, and they do have a lot of retro type stuff in here as well. So I did a search, and that was when I come across this one. So I emailed PCBWay back with what I was proposing, and they were quite happy to go ahead with that, and they provided the PCBs themselves for free. So I have to thank them for that, it's appreciated. I then just had to buy the list of parts to complete the project. Right, so let's get back to the video. Right, let's get started with this. Let's start with this connector. Which is a lovely tight fit on the PCB. And get that soldered in. Put my glasses on for this. that in. Just give it a little clean. Just get rid of this flux. That's fine. Now, I'll stick in this reset button. And the reset button is for resetting the machine itself. Because on the rubber key doesn't have a reset button like the 48K Plus does. There we go, nice clicky button. Get that soldered in. Get these ICs in place, making sure that we line up the notch with the notch on the silk screen. Now this is a SN74L S240N. I will have a link to this project, and it does have a full list of the components. Bend these pins a little, line up, there we go. Just get both in place. Same again, make sure the notches line up so it's the right orientation. There we go, and I'm just going to put this over the back just to hold them in place. And we'll solder them in. Same in, same again, isopropyl. Microfiber cloth. Okay, all the solder joints look fine. Yep, happy with that. Now for the resistors. Now they're all the same value, they're all 8.2k resistors. So, just a case of getting them all in, and we'll keep them all facing the same way, so all the stripes line up. So there's a quick clean. Yep, looks good. So it's just this connector to go. Do anything else or I forget. Just going to put a tiny spot of glue. Just along this edge. Should be enough to hold it in place. Get this soldered in. Yeah, they all look good. Pour the little wipe on this side as well. So a cotton bud. So that is basically it. It's really just a case of 3D printing the case if you want to 3D print a case for it. You don't actually have to, but what I will say is when you go to push this in, your fingers are going to be pushing against these sharp pins, which might be a little bit uncomfortable. But let's say the case isn't 100% necessary. So that's the two of them side by side. So I think next it's really just a case of giving this a test. Right, that's us all back together, almost ready to go. We'll just plug this into the back. Okay, that's that in, and plug the joystick into the interface. And let's power this on. Right, let's switch over to the other camera. And there we go. Right, so let's load a game. I'm going to go for Ghosts and Goblins, because it should basically test all the directions and the fire button, which is basically it. So I think we'll fast forward through this bit until the game's loaded and take it from there. Right, okay, that's us loaded in, so let's go J for joystick, and 2 for Kempston, press enter, and 0 to start the game. Right, let's see how this goes. Okay, jump works, and so does fire. Never actually played this version of it. Oh. Let's go again. Down works. What I meant. Right, yeah, I think that pretty much confirms that it is in fact working fine. So let's just switch back over. There we go. Alright. So yeah, quite happy with that. It's working away just fine. Let's just switch this off. I'll get this all tidied back up. Right, that's all the testing done, and I have to say quite happy with how that turned out. Now I did mention that I was going to be running a giveaway. Now this will be based on when the channel reaches 500 subs, which is very close, less than 25 now I believe, at the time of recording, and it'll only be open unfortunately to UK residents. So all you have to do is sub the channel, and if you could type into the comments the word Kempston, and that'll enter you into the draw, which I'll do once the 500 sub goal is reached. And this is what you'll receive. Now you will have the option, obviously I'll contact the person that's drawn out, you will have the option if you wish to receive the board unpopulated but with all the components, because I know some of you that watch this would probably enjoy piecing it all together yourself, but that will be entirely up to you. I'd be happy to send it either way. Right, now I will leave links in the description for where you can get the PCB, obviously PCBWay. So there'll be a link to the project page on their website. I'll put in links to all the different parts of this as well, links to where I purchased them on AliExpress. Obviously you can get these elsewhere as well, but they were all a good price, and they were here within sort of 7 to 10 days. So it wasn't exactly a long wait. Now I'll also leave a link to the case, or the file to 3D print the case. I'll put that guy's link in as well, because I think he did quite a good job of that. It's quite solid. The only thing is, it doesn't fit this version. It's designed for the rubber keyed 48K because of this gap here. Now if you have this version, you could technically chop off this bottom piece here, because it's the width between the cartridge slot and the top of the case that's the problem there. Or if you didn't want to chop that bit off, pop the screws off, take the front plate off, and it fits just fine and works perfectly fine. I'm not all that fussy because I use my rubber keyed version of the 48K, so that one fits a treat. Right, I think that pretty much covers everything. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like it, then please subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated. And if you want to be notified when I upload any new content, click the bell notification icon. Right, that's us. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.